Yo guys, this is the classic American intro. I'm done with this bullshit. I keep saying online, eat this, eat that. None of it's correct. I'm actually going to put you on game of the 10 foods you should not eat. Because a lot of you guys are slowing your life down, you're slowing your progress down because you're eating the wrong foods. And I'm not sure you guys can even see me, I'm pretty sure I'm a black figure on the screen. But either way, the value in this video is going to be insane. The first bodybuilding competition I did, I won and got my pro card. I won a boxing match by knockout. I've done Muay Thai. I've done a marathon with no training. An ultra marathon in Hong Kong where you have to run, swim and climb. And these are the foods that I just will not eat. Because if you eat these foods, you're going to slow yourself down. One of the reasons why I did the marathon without training is because I'm just dialed in 24/7. And I probably don't put in any more work than you guys. That's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people think that 24/7 I'm going on runs, 24/7 I'm doing boxing. Yeah, I stay fit. Yeah, I do a lot of exercise. Yeah, I go to the gym a lot. But it also comes down to your daily habits, your daily routines, what you eat, those sort of things. To be the killer you want to be, to actually be respected, to not lose your focus, to not feel sluggish all the time, and to really move forward with your life, you need to implement these things. Because if you implement these foods, you're going to start feeling 10 times better. And when you're feeling 10 times better, you can take 10 times more action. This mic is annoying me, but we have the coffee, we have the water, not from the tap, and we're going to get straight into this. Number one is the most basic one, but if you're eating sugary cereals all the time, I don't even know who can help you at this point. Like, when did you ever think that eating some sugary stuff in the morning and then putting more sugar on it was going to make it easier for you to get in shape? It just does not make any sense. If you're looking to get more shredded and lose weight, the easiest thing you can do as well in the morning is fast. So if you're like, oh, I don't have time, well, actually, if you don't eat, it's better, and that takes even less time. So there's not really much of an excuse for that, because then at lunchtime and in the evening, you can then eat the food that you need. You then eat the good foods that can give you the protein, this and that. But in the morning, you don't actually need to eat at all. I don't eat in the morning. And it's not like I'm super like massively like built. Like, I could obviously, I need to eat a lot of food every day because I do stay shredded. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I shredded all year round. So I had to eat a lot of food for my body to maintain. Because when you're shredded, you have less body fat to burn. And I don't even eat in the morning. But one thing I would never do is eat sugary cereals. And here's why. When you eat sugar, your insulin spikes. Boom, up here. Your body goes, yes, man, like I feel amazing. I could take on the world. Then your insulin crashes, and when you crash, that's when you feel tired, you feel sluggish, you don't feel like you want to do anything. And all your body does is crave more food because it feels like it doesn't have access to the sugar, the glucose that it used to have, because it doesn't, because it's used it as energy, or it's stored it as fat. And the reason why I would do this is because your body's like trying to always survive for the winter. It's still got this caveman mindset where it doesn't know it has a supermarket down the road. It doesn't know it can go to the local Tesco or feeling tired and like 7-Eleven and just grab, I don't know, a protein bar, some chicken, a protein shake, whatever you want, like some more cereal. So what it's doing is it's constantly storing food or using food in the most efficient way. Your body's trying to use as least amount of calories every single day so that it can survive for as long as possible. Because as cavemen, obviously we didn't just have supermarkets. So what it's trying to do is store most of your food for the time when you can't access it. For when you don't kill that lion or you don't have berries to go and pick because it's winter. What it's trying to do is save it for then, which is why it goes into fat, so that when you're in that period, it can use the fat as energy to survive. But now that's not possible, so we have to use our own mentality to move out of that situation because we're no longer in that. It's too easy to access foods. And stuff like cereal spikes insulin, it drops, and then your body thinks, man, like we've ran out of food, we need to store more of this, we need to eat way more. So what happens is you eat more and then your body starts to store it all as fat, because it thinks that you're going to have this huge spike and crash again, and then you're going to have no food. It goes into this survival mode of let's store as much as possible, let's survive for the winter, let's get ready. And then that makes you more hungry. So you want to go and eat more. So then you go and eat more shit. And without going into the details, it also makes more of the food stored to fat. So you're going to be more hungry and more of that food is going to be stored to fat. And I feel like we can all know where that goes. In you actually getting fat, or you getting skinny fat, or you just not being in the shape you want. And in addition, that insulin spike and crash makes you feel super tired, groggy and low in energy, which is going to mean that you're going to put less energy into stuff like exercises. You're going to do less during the day, which means burn less calories. So again, that's another effect on the amount of energy you have, and the amount of energy you put out is going to result in the amount of calories you burn, how good your workouts are. So that like sugary cereal in the morning could be costing you way more than you think. I'll put my hands up before the nutrition police come and start commenting on all my videos. Yes, I've eaten sugary cereals before. Yes, I still do that every now and then. However, I will never buy them. I'll never put them in my own cupboard. I'll only do it if I'm at a mate's house, everyone's eating cereal, And I'm just like, who gives a fuck? Because it can't be perfect every single day, but it can be 90% of the time. Alright, moving on. So number 2 is seed oils, especially like soybean oil. And the reason why I mention this is less because you're going to be using soybean oil. You're likely using something like olive oil, but it's because it's in so many foods. And I'm not saying when you go to a restaurant, say, oh, can I not have soybean oil in this? I don't do any of that. When I'm at a restaurant, I just buy good food and I just let them cook it the way they want, because I'm not a dickhead. And I don't want to be pushing people all the time to go to the market or go somewhere else to buy different oil just so they can cook my food. If you go to a restaurant, buy the healthiest option you can and just stick with that. Don't do the whole thing, which is like, I see online, which is like, can you make sure this is cooked in this? Like, if you want that sort of food, go to that sort of restaurant. But when it comes to restaurants, for me, I just want to be chill. I want to be able to go where I want. I want to be able to eat the food that I want to eat. When I'm out, yeah, I'll go for healthy alternatives, steaks, this, chicken, those sort of things. But I still don't want to overly think about what seed oil is cooked in. But when you're buying your daily foods, just be careful of seed oils. Like, let's say you buy a protein shake that's plant-based. You've got to be careful that they haven't put loads of seed oils and stuff like that in there. And it's not going to cause any damage the first or second time, but it's like if you put it into your routine, if you have seed oils in your routine, like you use sunflower oil constantly, it's then going to start having issues because they're huge inflammatories. And huge inflammatories, what they do is they cause stuff like brain fog, low testosterone, and poor recovery. And seed oils are massive inflammatories, so that's the only reason to stay away from them. Number 3 is one that most people know, but they don't actually follow, and it's alcohol. And yeah, you might be thinking, Ned, but do you ever go out and party? Do you ever go and do this? And of course I go out, but I'm not someone that generally drinks a lot. I drink occasionally, and that's what you should be doing as well. If you're going out with mates, you've got a family event or something big's happening at work or something big has happened within the business, then yes, you can go out and have a drink. But casually going out every Friday night and Saturday night is just going to destroy your life. And those 2 things alone affect your muscle gain, your recovery, your cognitive function, how goal orientated and how much you actually want to generally go and achieve in life. But it also treats alcohol as a toxin, and because it treats alcohol as a toxin, it prioritizes getting rid of the alcohol from your system, which stops fat oxidation, which basically means more fat gets stored, which obviously causes you to gain weight and get more fat. And this isn't fat that's going to convert into muscle, because that's not how it works. This is fat that will stay as fat, and then you will then have to put so much energy into burning that fat off. So if you genuinely want to be shredded and look really good all the time, say goodbye to having the beer every Wednesday and Friday and Saturday after work because your colleagues are doing this. Say goodbye to going out and getting slammed on the weekends, because you just don't need it. If you genuinely want to be the person you want to be, you want to look the way you want to achieve the goals that you have, you want to build the business, or you want to start the business, or you want to go up in your career, then just drinking alcohol regularly is not going to put you in a position where you're going to mentally or physically feel the best way you can. Which is why alcohol is the 3rd thing that I'm super careful to avoid. Food number 4 is white bread. Everyone knows white bread isn't good for them. It's a super fast acting carb. Most of the time it's got tons of sugar in it. And again, it's going to spike your insulin and drop it, which we've already been into, and it's not a good thing. It's a really easy one to avoid. Just get some brown bread or fresh bread that's actually been baked recently. And it's not really much more expensive to buy good brown bread or nice fresh bread. One thing to not get is just another really cheap brown bread, because that's probably going to be just as bad. You want to get an actual fresh loaf of brown bread, fresh loaf of seeded bread. Treat yourself and actually start eating the way that you want to feel. Number 5 is energy drinks without a reason. Like, I have a coffee here. The only time I feel like you should be drinking energy drinks is if it's for the gym or for focus. Like, for example, a nootropic for when you're actually working and you want to smash out a deep work session, because it's probably got L-theanine in there and some other things in there. So you have the caffeine, the L-theanine, and it allows you to have the energy but also be in a deep focused state. And that makes sense. And then also maybe a energy drink for when you're in the gym for the days where you're not feeling as good, or you want to smash a leg day or get a really good Muay Thai session and you feel like you need that little energy drink. Yeah, that's fine. That's not going to kill you. I'm not against that, because it's you trying to put yourself in the position where you can perform the best. But just slamming energy drinks whilst you're sitting at home, what is that for? Have a coffee. Keep it simple. Coffee with minimum or no milk. Americano is the best, but every now and then you can have a flat white or cappuccino, and it's just not going to have any of the unnecessary ingredients that most of these energy drinks have. For example, if you look at Monster, the amount of shit in there that you just do not need is crazy. So unless you're using it for a specific reason, just stick with a coffee. It's going to be better for work. It's more natural. and it's going to have less effects in the future. Number 6 is fruit juices from concentrate. And this one is so simple. When you have a fruit juice from concentrate, you're basically just drinking sugar. There's not much to it than that. It's just not real fruit that you're drinking. So even if it says it's 1 of your 5 a day, it's also 10 of your sugars a day. So just don't drink it. Instead, just buy an actual fresh fruit one. Just make sure if you get orange juice, it's not from concentrate, it's freshly squeezed 100% orange juice. It's really easy to find. It's a really easy switch. Doesn't take any effort, doesn't take longer to drink or longer to prepare. All it is just being smart when you're shopping. And the reason for this is, again, insulin spike, but also high sugar amounts in your diet. You don't need all this sugar in your diet. If you are getting sugar in your diet, you want it from the most natural things possible, like actual fruit, like from actual fresh fruit juices, from like basically as many natural foods as you can get. Like there's actually a lot of sugar in most foods. And for example, if you go out for a meal in the weekend, or like even some guys I train, they go out for a meal every night. It's like there's going to be sugar in those foods because the chefs are going to use sauces and stuff with sugar in. So really, even if you don't consume any extra sugar in the day, you're already consuming enough sugar for what we'd naturally be used to. Because they're not naturally used to consuming that much sugar. We'd eat fruit, but then we'd also eat a lot of meat and grains, and those grains wouldn't be processed grains with loads of added sugar. So just try and get your sugar from the most natural sources possible, and concentrated fruit juice is not one of them. Number 7 ties into this. It's granola bars. You do not need granola bars. You're not that busy where you need to grab a granola bar and eat it. At least buy a protein bar if you're going to do that. Have something with some sustenance that's actually going to cause some sort of benefit in your life. Like a protein bar, even if it is a bit unhealthy, at least that's going to actually allow you to have protein synthesis to build muscle, which is a healthy thing to have. Like having more muscle is healthy. High muscle density and high bone density is really good. But a granola bar is just mainly sugar and fast acting carbs. It's just like no point. All you're doing again is setting yourself up to have an insulin spike and insulin crash. What is actually the purpose of that other than to feel shit? So if you feel like a granola bar is this really good pick me up, it's not. You're better off actually fasting than eating a granola bar, or just waiting until you can have a proper meal. The only time granola bars and stuff like that are okay is if you're doing high intensity or long distance training. And the reason why that is long distance training, you can stack all your pockets and stuff up with granola bars. I did it for my ultra run, and you can consistently have bits of them, which just means that you consistently top up your insulin levels. You're consistently topping up your sugar. You're not letting that big crash happen, because the whole time you are going to feel like you want to crash. But by just having high sugar, for example, gels and all those sort of things, high carbohydrates, you allow yourself to stay up. And then the day after, you're probably going to feel pretty shit once you've done it. Or the 2 days after, depends how long it takes. But during it, it's just about getting through. It's not about being healthy at the time. It's just about actually completing that marathon, completing that ultra run, or whatever it is that you're doing. In those cases, and those cases only, it can be good. Or maybe even before some high intensity training, because you don't have time in the morning to grab some food. You might be fasting, but you want some sort of food before your high intensity training because you're someone that likes to eat before. Yeah, then you can have a granola bar. For me, I just wouldn't eat, but yeah, then a granola bar can be good. Other than that, if you're at the office, for example, or you're working and you just have a granola bar on the side and you're eating it during your work, there's no point of that. Like, where are you actually even burning the energy really to use that granola bar? Like, you're just typing. Yes, you're burning calories just by living and being there and doing some stuff, but you're not burning that much. You've got enough on you, most likely, unless you're like severely skinny, that you can fast a little bit and eat in the evening. One big thing about fasting, so I mentioned this a lot today, is it's not to just cut weight necessarily. Like, you can fast whilst maintaining, because you can eat a lot in the evening. You can have a big lunch and a big dinner. It means you can be super casual with the meals you eat later on. But it's also going to help you stop on the snacking. You don't finish your fast and then just have a bunch of snacks. You finish your fast and have a big meal. Number 8, and I've kind of already done this with the energy drinks, but it's like lattes, frappes, macchiato, wappe, sort of coffee drinks that I see at Starbucks. Don't be getting them. Like, if I actually see one of my friends getting them, wow, I will smack it out of their hands. I do not want that even in my vision. If you're getting a pumpkin matcha latte, I don't even know the names because I don't even look at them. What are you doing? Packed with sugar. Just packed with sugar. Caffeine and sugar. You're just mixing two extremely high dopamine sources and just putting them together and just be like, brain, get this, have this, have this. Like, no wonder you're scrolling on reels all day, because you've put in these high sugary foods. Before you eat them, you get dopamine. caffeine, before you even have caffeine, you get dopamine, because your body enjoys having the caffeine. So before you have the caffeine, like when you're making the coffee, you're getting the dopamine from the coffee. People think dopamine comes from the thing, it comes before the thing. So before you get this matcha latte pumpkin thing that you're looking at, you're thinking, wow, I can't wait to have this. You're getting so much dopamine. Then you drink it and you get so much serotonin, so many endorphins that are just like kicking through your brain. And I see some people drinking these things and on their phone on Instagram and Starbucks. Like, you are frying your dopamine receptors. Like, this thing aside, the reason why I've said this isn't because of actually the health. Like, this video is about foods to avoid to be a respected man, to actually have clarity and focus and confidence. So a big thing isn't just about how healthy it makes you, but what it does to your brain, what it does to your mind. Having some iced frappuccino latte thing, especially if you're doing that double shot with like cream on the top, you're just combining the amount of dopamine you're getting before the thing, and you're also just way increasing the amount of endorphins you're going to get. And if you pack that with social media, it's just horrific. It is really bad for you guys. Like, your dopamine levels will change throughout your lifetime. And if you're doing too many things that like make your dopamine right up here, your standard will get up here. It's hard to enjoy a view if you're used to just your phone and just consuming all the time. Because the problem is, if you're used to all the dopamine, it's harder to feel at that level. So when you're not doing the stuff that gives you high dopamine, you're not going to basically feel like you're actually doing anything fun. You're going to start to feel a bit distorted from the world. Like, you're going to feel a bit numb, because everything's going to feel so boring and basic, because your brain isn't triggering all these endorphins that are making you feel good. So it's so important that you avoid these things that make your dopamine levels spike to crazy places. An example of this, and this is a crazy example, is meth. Meth takes your dopamine to a whole new level. It takes your endorphins to a whole new level, like a whole new place that you can never possibly experience in your life unless you do meth. And what happens is, the next time you do meth, the dopamine endorphins don't hit the same. They don't get to that same point as the first time. So you never feel like life is as good as it once was when you're doing that meth. So that's why people get on. That's why it's so addictive, because people do it again and again. But these things that we're consuming, like these frappe sugary latte things, that's doing the exact same thing. It's literally doing the same thing. Like, I accept that me drinking this coffee in the morning, it's hitting dopamine. But I also want to not overdo it and not limit the amount of dopamine that I'm getting, and limit the amount of endorphins, so that I'm not just frying my brain. Like, if I was just like happily having like 4 coffees in the morning, I'm just going to be absolutely stacking my brain with, one, too much caffeine, which isn't good for you. But also, I'm going to be allowing myself to have too much, like, basically overly satisfying myself with all these endorphins that you just don't need. You need to get them from action. You need to get them from working out. You need to get them from doing the things that you know are going to move you forward in your life, not doing the things that are going to move you backwards, like unhealthy foods. That is like half the point of this video, because this is such an important point. So yeah, don't let me catch you drinking a pumpkin latte thing next Halloween. The next thing is, and this only applies in this one instant, is having stuff like breakfast muffins, pain au chocolats, or like crepes for breakfast. If you're on holiday, fine. If it's a one-off thing, fine. If you are doing it regularly, what is going on with your life? Like, that is wild. If you're doing that on a regular, then that is genuinely wild. Having pain au chocolats, for example, in the morning is not going to set you up right for the day. Even if the packaging says that it's a healthy breakfast muffin or healthy breakfast bagel, you're just consuming fast-acting carbs, which we've been over in this video, and it's not good. So unless you're on holiday, unless you're in France having a crepe or a pain au chocolate, obviously cool, or in Italy doing this, or you've just gone and taken a retreat, or you've taken a weekend off because you've been working really hard and you've been doing this and that, and don't think you can do this all the time. Don't be taking weekends off every weekend. I see this all the time, but like, if you've generally been putting the effort in, you've been eating good, you've been moving forward in your life, yeah, you could take some time off and do that. It's good, man. Like, especially if you have a girlfriend or this or that, like, they like to my girlfriend loves these carb high foods, and like, I basically, if she's around me, I'm not going to eat any of them. If we go to a cafe, I'm not going to touch them. She eats them on her own if she wants them. Most of the time, I'm judging the fuck out of her for eating them. If you, every now and then, you can take a break, you can have the food, you can allow yourself to dip into that temptation, because you've got to satisfy those needs every now and then. But if you are generally just eating them all the time, it's just going to destroy you mentally, because you know that you shouldn't be eating them in the morning. You know that you shouldn't be eating a pan of chocolate in the morning. It's not rocket science. Chocolate bar, banana, which one's healthier? Obviously the banana. Like, healthy eggs on toast or pan of chocolate in the morning, which one's healthier? Obviously the eggs on toast. So But if you've obviously got not much time and you're trying to eat the pan of chocolate because you haven't got much time, okay, just do fasting. You don't need to do anything else. Or just find a really quick alternative. For example, you can have yogurt in the morning. It takes 5 seconds, yogurt and honey. It's going to have less sugar in a pan of chocolate. And if you're worried about the calories, low fat yogurt and honey, high in protein, tastes really good and pretty low in calories. So there's so many alternatives to make stuff quick if you do want to eat in the morning. But the last thing you need to eat is something like a pan of chocolate or anything that's marketed as like these healthy breakfast foods, but they're just carbs. Doesn't make any sense. Please don't eat that. The last one, number 10, is the sneakiest one. And the reason why I have to call this one out is because loads of people do it. I accidentally did it one time and I didn't realize, which is why I bring this one up. And it's actually really fucked. Like, I don't know how they get away with this, but picture this scenario. You've got the barbecue out, you smoked a load of ribs, you're excited for these ribs, they are looking insane. You've smoked the most peng ribs ever. You have 2 steaks on. This is a real life scenario, I've done this. You have 2 steaks on, you've got some chicken thighs on. But the main thing are these ribs that you've been smoking all day. And you've been working, you've been getting things done. I was actually doing sales at the time, but then you're also smoking some ribs. And then you go to eat the ribs and you share some of the ribs with your mate. And you're talking about how good they are. And he asks you what sauce you're using. You show him the sauce, you realize that 50% of it is sugar. 50% of some of these barbecue sauces are sugar. So one thing to definitely avoid is if you're going out, fine, don't think about it. Just enjoy your meal. Go for the foods that are lean or go for the steaks, things like that. But if you're cooking at home or you're doing a barbecue, then really make sure you look at the sauces you use. Because some of these barbecue sauces are so sugary, you're basically making a healthy food into a dessert. Because at the end of the day, you might think, oh, I can eat this every single day. Because yeah, you can eat stuff like ribs and steaks every single day. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd mix up your meats. So you're eating chicken, you're eating different types of meats basically. You're eating fish and all these sort of things. But if you were to eat steaks every single day, you're not going to die. You're better eating that than donuts. I see loads of people hate commenting to guys eating steaks all the time, and they're clearly just like overweight men that eat stuff like donuts. It's like you don't really have a position to say anything when you're eating those horrible foods. So one thing is like, just be careful on sauces you use. For example, the ketchups you use, like some ketchups, they're just stacked with sugar. If you're going to go with sauces, just get the low sugar options. And most of the low sugar options, they haven't got any alternative chemicals in them. They just generally use less sugar. So it's just a really easy way to still have those sauces, but just have less sugar. You don't want all this sugar in your diet, guys. It's not good for your endorphins. You're just spamming your endorphins all the time. You're setting a new standard for yourself of how sugary food should taste. And you don't want that. Like, for example, I used to drink these coffees, like these frappes and like lattes and stuff. And I had such a sweet tooth. When I switched to pure Americanos, I really struggled. Now, I could not drink those disgusting coffees because they're too sugary for me because my standard's different. And that's how I stay super healthy, because my body wants these more whole foods. So yeah, big thing is just look at the barbecue sauces, the tomato ketchups and all this stuff before you buy it. If you like this video and if you feel like it was helpful for you, then drop a subscribe and go check out some of the other videos. Peace, guys. Love you all.